Hey, it's Tom. If you've ever released a piece of software in your company and another feature broke and no one knew why that broke or no one expected it to break, stay tuned. I have a potential solution for that. Hi, everybody. Uh, First things first, I have a new video editing software. So if you noticed a difference in the video, let me know because it should be easier for me to figure out. More on that on another video. Today I want to talk about a concept called solid, but first let me start with a little backstory. Several weeks ago I talked to a gentleman who was an SVP of engineering, and he was making a differentiation in his company between engineers and programmers. Now, if we put aside the fact that to be legally called an engineer, you must pass the board of registration for the state you live in, which is similar to a doctor or a lawyer. Engineers who design bridges and stuff are all licensed, and there's requirements for that. But separate from that, I asked him, I said, well, how is an engineer versus a programmer different in your company? And he's like, well, engineers can solve real problems. And for example, do you know how to reverse a string without using a library? And I'm like, yeah, you just convert it to a character array and loop through the array backwards. I mean, you don't get in the door as a programmer at my company without knowing that. And I don't know if you like that answer. And then I talked a little bit about surrogate pairs, how you can make that interview question a little bit harder. But then I mentioned the term solid, and I think it went right over his head. And solid is a principle from object-oriented design. And most of you watching aren't going to know this. I don't expect you to know it. But I do expect someone who's an SVP of software development to understand this concept. And solid is an acronym for the single responsibility principle, the open-close principle, Liskov substitution for L, interface segregation, and dependency inversion. And I'll put some links underneath the video series so you can follow up on that. And if you're leading a company, or if you're an executive and you have developers and development managers working for you, ask them to explain it to you and see if they understand it, because unfortunately many people in software development don't understand these principles, and that is why a lot of times bugs happen, because you are not following the basic principles of encapsulation and inheritance and polymorphism as outlined in these 5 principles. And you change a piece of code over here and it breaks something over there, and no one had any idea that these things were so tightly coupled. And that's a real problem. Now, how does this problem happen, right? Some people go to school for computer science, and if you go for a decent program at a college, you're going to take a course on object-oriented design, you're going to take a course on data structures and such. But many people, including myself, right, we came from different careers. I came from civil engineering, which was roadway and bridge design, and I learned programming on my own, and I had enough success to get a job at Microsoft as a programmer, but I didn't know all these real concepts, and I've learned them since. But people who are self-taught, or people who were programmers in maybe other languages and now have, on-the-job training, they've learned other, newer languages, they sometimes don't know these principles. And you can learn them on Pluralsight, you can learn them on YouTube. It's not that hard to kind of put the investment in and learn it. So I'm going to include some links down below, including some talks from Bob Martin, who is one of the signers of the Agile Manifesto. He wrote some books on this, and I'll include some links from him. But it's great. It's a great concept to know, and it helps. It really helps your company if you can get your programmers understanding this and coding to these principles. So stay tuned for more. Please comment below too if you have questions, if you want to hear more about these principles. I didn't really want to get too technical in this video, but if you do want me to split them up into different videos, if that will help, let me know. Let me know what else you want to see. Thanks. Bye.